again. Wow, that side told a lot. Um, yeah, I was just sitting out here enjoying the view and having my morning cup of coffee, and I don't know. There's some things I wanted to say, I guess, and not as a reason, no particular reason other than it's, I guess, just more of my unmasking. Um, yeah, I'll probably jump around a little bit. I'm pretty good in toasties, so I don't need to smoke. But if you're not smoking, may I suggest it? Um, how did I get here? Part two. Uh, I don't say a lot, but when I do, it's probably significant. Because it's like, where do I begin? And I guess I just can just be real short and sweet and say, just right before COVID happened, I was already feeling really disconnected in my career and what I did and money and that kind of thing and just stuff. Because I'd already gone through a divorce and struggled through that, and then on this kind of journey to see and understand who I am outside of a marriage, but really who I am as a person and as a dad. But then in 2019, like right before COVID, I lost someone, and that caused, you know, causes me to get choked up when I talk about it. But I love talking about it because that began a process for me of really looking into things. And so by then, my career really, even though I felt like I had helped a lot of people along the way, because I was really into it prior to that. But when you're not as into something anymore, even if you're good at it, you're not good at it anymore. And so I just kind of drifted away a little bit until my drifting just caused me to not pay attention to some things, and so it just all came to a head in March of last year, 2023. I injured myself at a music festival. I was standing on a hammock, putting up another hammock to be a second level hammock, and apparently was in a very creative mindset that tried to recreate the rules of gravity. And some rules, just because your mind changes doesn't mean the rules change. Others, maybe those rules weren't as real as we think they are to begin with. And anyways, that's another story. But so that week, turns out I was at the festival, and I was with some friends, and went and had the people check me out, paramedics there, and they're like, well, it doesn't look like anything's broken. I just, I couldn't lift my arm at all. I had this real experience of the paralysis, because like I could look at it and tell it to do something and it wouldn't do what I wanted it to do. I mean, I could do some things with it, but then some things I couldn't do anything with it. So anyways, I had a decision. What do I do? I don't know. It doesn't, like that at that point, it didn't hurt as much. When it happened, it hurt. Hella hurt. Yeah. Dislocated and popped it back in. I really don't even remember it, thankfully, right? Thankfully, memory is what's the word? Shabby? I can't even think. Shabby. See? Memory is shabby at best. And So anyways, I'm telling a story about the past, and I recognize that it changes. But turns out, I stayed put my arm in a sling and danced the rest of the festival and had a great time. I'm actually on some of the artist's internet, like dancing in the crowd, like right up front. Keller Williams has a bunch of stuff. It was a South Carolina, right? So no, what's it? Charleston Bluegrass Festival. Anyways, Keller Williams was there, and he's awesome. If you haven't checked him out, you need to. Keller's the man. But it was Keller and the Keels, and it was a freaking awesome set. But I'm right down, as you're looking from the stage down to the right, I've got my arm in a sling and I'm dancing, and so it's kind of cool. I love that. I don't know, I like telling that story. But it turns every time I go to see my surgeon, it's at a teaching hospital, a really good one, and he's one of the best surgeons. Like, he's like, oh, did you tell him how it happened? Because they always have a resident or somebody come in first, and then the doc comes in, and he's like, oh, I gotta pull this up and show you. He's like, yeah, this is probably one of the worst ones I ever saw. I tore the hell out of my rotator cuff. Anyways, but that happened on a weekend, and I get back and I find out my stepdad had passed away that Sunday night, and he'd been my mom's husband for 30 years almost, and 28, I think. So that happened, and then I find out that same week that that my employer had recognized my reluctance to continue in this career, and so they decided to help me and tie that knot. So that all happened like relatively at the same time, and so it was a big shift in what's next and where do I go from here. And shoulder surgery, I'll tell you what, recovery from that is not easy. And your mind's already in a hard place, and then you have something like that happen, and then it's hard. But since I was dealing with all of that, I've had arthritis and really bad hip problems, and so I finally got that taken care of too last year. Might as well knock it all out, right? So I'm on the mend now, and trying to figure out life. For money, I drive Uber a little bit, trying to figure out that. That's fun, actually. I'm in a college town, so I just do it when they're here and they're drinking, and it's a party town, so that's a lot of fun. But I also like to have these kinds of discussions once in a while with the kids, and I don't know. Two things really excite me about an Uber ride, and apologize for the noise of the dump truck driving by. Yeah, it looks really like I'm in the woods, but I'm not. This is a neighborhood. Yeah. Oh, I digress. Where was I? It's interesting. I've started, I guess I was talking about money maybe a little bit. And then the garbage truck comes by, because that's like talk about money, right? It's taking away all the stuff we don't want anymore. And all the stuff we bought. I'm thankful for it. I've actually started taking my own stuff to the dump, though. I don't know. I've got a truck. It's an old 1980s F-150 pickup truck. Reminded me of my granddad, so... So yeah, I drive a little Uber, and I'll have some talks with the kids too. And so I guess what I was starting to say is one of the things that gets me to keep doing it is I love when they get in the car and they don't want to change the music because it's just what they're looking for. And that's not always the case. Sometimes, I mean, I have a chord, they can play whatever they want. But then also, some of them just will tell me things that's like crazy. You know, you just hear all kinds of stuff. And when you're able to just give people an ear and without judgment, you know, or they can just be themselves and feel comfortable in that. And that always feels pretty good. And that's what I'm trying to do for myself. I guess that's part of this whole unmasking, is just being me and embracing all of that. And that's a struggle every freaking day, because old patterns, you know, they're deep. Even if you've gotten a whole lot of snowfall and you've been able to, you know, cover all the old tracks, sometimes that ice is down there, you know. So, anyways, enough waxing poetic for today. Let's go take a look at the plants and see what's going on. All right.